say, hey, look, we got this money, but we're not going to sign it because it's not enough money. And the thing that drives me crazy about organizations is they all claim salary cap victim. The salary cap can totally be manipulated. You can pay
Isaias.
Yep.
Find money. You can manipulate the cap. You can redo other people's contracts. Just look at Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes, with Chris Jones. If your intent is to get it done, you'll find a way to get it done.
Into the Night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern.
If business, pleasure, or sports fandom takes you to Houston, Dallas, Austin, Fort Worth, or San Antonio, check out CultureMap.com to get the scoop on the local favorites. From the best restaurants, bars, pubs, and clubs to the biggest sights and sounds each city has to offer, CultureMap has it all. Just head over to CultureMap.com. The expert team personally reviews and visits each spot to make sure you get the best experience. And if you're coming back, sign up for free CultureMap updates at CultureMap.com.
Pushing the Odds with Matt Perrault.
Our next guest here on the Progressive Guest Line is a Pro Football Hall of Famer and a guy who, me growing up in the Boston area, watching Andre Reed catching passes was a thing of beauty.
Patriots fan, you know what? Foxborough Stadium was the worst stadium in all of sports. It was so bad.
I can't argue with that. I mean, that's why they tore it down and put up the new one.
Old Foxborough Stadium, in the corners of the stadium when it was turf, it was rolled up like a carpet in the corners of the end zone. So if you ran a corner route into the end zone, good luck.
And the metal bleachers, I mean, that's where my first football game ever that I went to was a Patriot game in their 2-14 season, sitting in the cold bleachers, freezing my tail off. So yeah, that was not a fun place to go play. And I'm assuming going to the ground wasn't that fun either, landing on that turf.
Oh my gosh, it was like playing on concrete, no doubt about it.
Pushing the Odds with Matt Perrault. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 Eastern.
Terrell.
Coast to coast! If you throw a heinous first pitch, you go down in the heinous first pitch handbook forever. So Fauci will stay in baseball now forever because of that terrible pitch. I've thrown out 2 first pitches, and both times I threw heat dead over the plate. Rock star status. Strikes both times. Shake out. Ooh.
Farrell Coast to Coast with Scott Farrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern.
One of the biggest challenges we're all dealing with is wearing masks, but not all offer the same comfort and protection. I recommend the Boomer Naturals 3-layer, comfortable, breathable mask enhanced with nano silver technology. Nano silver can block those tiny drops and particles from getting to your nose and mouth.
So I have a fun one for the road, but I think you might want to get into it earlier.
Order at boomernaturals.com. That's boomernaturals.com and use promo code.
Well, I have somebody at 12:40 and that's it. So do you want to do it at like 11:40?
We can. Have you seen the Katie Ledecky video?
Yes. With the chocolate milk?
Yes.
Yes.
Something.
Do you believe that it is real?
No.
That's right. 40%.
Why not?
Visit Allstate.com.
I just
call
think
a local
that
agent for a quote
the
today
physics of
and
it
see just how
are
much
very
you can
difficult
save
for me to
when you drive
grasp.
safe with Allstate.
But why would she pen her name to something that would be fake?
Well, I think it could be an ad. I think it could be a setup for like something.
No, it's a campaign.
Yeah.
It's a
probably like a Got
campaign.
Milk, right?
This is
Okay.
in partnership
Let's talk
with
about it
Jacob
at
Media.
11:40.
That's why I was bringing it up. It's like I'm thinking about that's a good one for the road, but there's a lot more to it.
Okay.
Second level thinking.
And if it's true, most amazing thing you've ever seen.
No, I think her winning the gold medals against top swimmers
SportsMap
would be more
Radio
impressive
Network.
than that, right?
No, she didn't even compete.
No?
Presented by
Or they didn't compete against her. She was like miles ahead of them.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios.
Okay, so Phelps
here's
eating more
Eitan
McDonald's.
Shander.
NBA is back, and boy, do I have a story for you yesterday. I was relegated to the Gamecast, and I don't know if there's anything worse in the world of sports than having a wager go down to the wire and being relegated to watching it on the Gamecast. Busy hour as we'll look at some NBA storylines. I actually have a question as I heard Jake Asman open his show talking about Derek Jeter, the Miami Marlins, and wanted to dive into it from my perspective. At the very least, we'll do that in 5 minutes or so. Second hour is jammed. So if you want in at Shander Show, at Ron Culver, 2 N's, we're live on the stream, twitch.tv twitch.tv/Shander Show, where you can interact as so many choose to do, with Jay Michael joining us at 12:40 Eastern. Fake news before that. So we have a lot with the NBA continuing to dominate the sports scene. Baseball kind of knowing and understanding that they've got some bigger issues at hand to worry about where they are. There's some ratings discussions going on about where the NBA is and its return down to the bubble. And oh, by the way, in case you forgot, we have a race to the Stanley Cup. So this is just insanity as we inch closer to the weekend with a major in golf. I don't know what you're going to be able to do. This weekend, you're going to be on full overload. You're going to have to, if you haven't already figured out a way to incorporate multiple screens in your house. It doesn't have to be 15 TVs. You don't need to have one of these super man caves that these big celebrities always post pictures of. Oh, this is me in my stadium seating and my projector screen and then 50 other TVs so I can get every single game. You don't need to be a sports book in your basement, your attic, your living room in order to enjoy multiple things going on. But I strongly suggest you figure it out. Get on YouTube and figure out how you can stream things on your tablet, your laptop, because you're going to need multiple screens to handle everything going on. 6 major sports in play starting Thursday. We're going to lead you up to it. We need a couple of days in advance to do it. And also, we're going to introduce the Tuesday theme all here on the second level. Oh, look at that.
Suck the
Look at that.
Dedicated advisor from Fidelity Wealth Management.
Wasn't even looking at the clock.
Develop a personalized wealth strategy that can be flexible enough to evolve as your needs change. Plus, they can offer investing strategies designed to reduce the impact of taxes, all while making sure you understand what you're paying and why. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference, like marking safe distance.
Hey, I got to run to the restroom real quick.
Okay.
But I got a producer in here who'll get you on there.
Okay.
Just in case I'm not back, okay?
Yep.
Free industry.
It's Jack Attack.
Oh, what's up, Jack?
24/7 support, safety recovery.
What's up, Aton?
It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in challenging times. Call, clickgranger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Yeah, Ron just had a emergency.
No worries, man.
Same comfort and protect. What's up, man? How you been?
Good.
Boomer
You?
Naturals,
Everything
three
going
layer,
all right?
comfortable. Yeah, man. Here mostly weekends, and I'm here on Tuesdays to do Let's Talk Wheels. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
That's nice. So they get you in the building on Tuesday for some more hours.
Exactly. And when the Big E Sports Show comes back next week, or in 2 weeks, I should say.
Yep.
I'll be here on Thursdays as well.
That's code J
nice.
at
Tuesdays and Thursdays doing
boomernaturals.com.
Let's Talk Wheels.
Liberty Mutual.
Let's Talk Wheels and the Big E Sports Show.
Got you. So that records on Thursday.
Yes, sir.
And repeat after me. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Your bird is eating my candles.
Your bird is eating my candles.
No, seriously, he's making a mess.
No, seriously.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Get a customized quote at libertymutual.com.
You're going on a trip, but where are you going to stay? How much will it cost? Well, it'll cost less by.
Are you happy the Phillies are finally back?
No, I'm happy. The Sixers and Flyers are
BestHotelRates.com works
finally
with
back.
all the while delivering you great hotel and room choices for the best prices. Why wait? Go to Best Hotel.
It's crazy. They have the fifth
Enter
highest
your email
payroll
address
and their
and
talent
start shopping
acquisition
for your next
selections are just
hotel room.
awful. They refuse to pay.
BestHotelRates.com. It's in the name.
They
BestHotelRates.com.
refuse to pay anybody.
My name is Megan
Real
Eddings,
Muto's not
founder
gonna
and
be signed
CEO of
because
Excel Lifestyle.
Ridiculous.
Research shows that wearing a face mask.
Yeah, it seems like it's a slippery slope, and you might just be trading Bryce Harper for whatever you can here in the next 2 to 3 years.
Soft, washable,
Bro, they
and double
trade-
layer
if
for
they-
added protection.
I
To purchase
swear.
you
Like,
and
that's
your
the thing,
loved
though,
one's
is
face
I
mask,
think
please go to
Harper is-
excellifestyle.com.
I don't think
That's
Harper is going to.
ACCEL
Now, things could change in like 6
lifestyle.com.
years or all.
Once we
But I
receive
think
your
Harper
order, we will
is
ship your
really
masks out
invested in
immediately.
watching this
Thank
team.
you and
Like,
stay
he's
safe.
really upset that they haven't signed Real Muto. I know just from people that I know that know him that cover him and all. And he's pissed.
Well, I would be too.
Yeah, me too. Right?
You're listening to The Second Level on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage. Home loans that fit your life. Rocket can.
From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, with way more than the scores, here's Eitan Shander.
Mike's hot.
All right, so yesterday, this was a wild ending to the Heat Raptors game where I just was trying to figure out how I could stay at home. My dog was barking at this point. He's very quiet. You may see him pop up in the stream and jump up and all, but very quiet to say the least. And I'm out here just trying to figure out how I can get through this game, knowing that I had a wager placed on it. I also had my name behind a bet at Odds Checker where I'm doing some NBA stuff, so feel free to check them out as well. And I just wanted to watch the end of it. Final 4 or 5 minutes, I could not because at that point the dog was just not letting me go. So out we go, and I have to follow, which is the worst possible experience, follow the end of that game, as crazy and wild as it was. Jimmy Butler handing the ball over, late foul by Dragic, 0.7 seconds to ensure the cover. It was just insanity. Now, later, fast forward to last night, and I don't know what to feel. I honestly do not know what to feel after a game that I know a lot of you caught around the country. It was up at least an hour earlier than that Lakers-Jazz game, and to be fair, the Lakers got a pretty good lead later, so I'm sure as the Spurs were climbing back into that game against the Sixers, people were choosing that over watching LeBron and company, especially when LeBron went to the bench and all, and they were up 10, 12 points. Spurs comeback was far more compelling. So I actually wrote about this today on my column in Philly Voice, phillyvoice.com. It's up, and I know a lot of it has to do with the Flyers, but I mention just this conflict of emotion that I've gone through. And I know as a fan of whatever team you root for, whatever sport or how many sports you follow, and I'll use me with the Sixers as an example, there is a dichotomous relationship that I have with this team. Clearly, I am local in sports media and do my best to write and talk and discuss the team from a media and sports betting standpoint, as well as somebody who is genuinely interested and invested in the success of this team. I live in Philadelphia. I love when the city is happy and electric and over the top. I haven't experienced anything in my life from a group standpoint than when I was there, both the night walking down in Center City, Philadelphia, Spring Garden, when the Philadelphia Eagles win the Super Bowl against the Patriots, and then the parade, both just top memories for me when it comes to both sports and just these group activities. I've seen what a city like Philadelphia, and I'm sure you can mirror it, copy and paste it, Cleveland and other cities that will come to mind, experiencing decades of misery and failure and coming up short. And I recognize that the Sixers have two all-NBA type talents that are unique in their own right, and Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. And the expectations, despite who the coach and GM and even the third player is, in this case Tobias Harris, the expectations are be better than a first or second round exit. And with a game last night, there's just so much positive and negative that you take from it. I was exhausted. I was physically exhausted after watching the Sixers hold off the Spurs last night. And it felt like there was something just about a loss. It felt like it was a loss. It did. It felt like it was one of these games where, now clearly it doesn't matter in the long run as far as it could in seeding, but it doesn't matter. It's not going to knock the Sixers out of the playoffs, or nobody got hurt to set anything back. I could do without seeing Raul Neto for the rest of my life on the court, but that's a secondary story. The point of it is that it was an exhausting victory. And it was also a sobering reminder to me, and maybe a sobering realization, that your team's just not going to win this year. And I think there's probably two teams right now in the NBA outside of the big three, the two LA teams in Milwaukee. I think there are two fan bases left that legit think they have a shot at doing this. And, you know, based on how one team has played so far and the other team has played all year, I can't really fault them. I really can't. But last night, despite the victory, and this is the wild element about the NBA that no other sport has, for better or worse, Really, as soon as you get into the NBA playoffs, you have a strong idea of which of the 2, 3, maybe you can stretch it, depending on which conference you point at, 4 teams that have a legit shot at winning it all. We've been talking about the big 3, if you will, Bucks and the 2 LA squads forever, because rightfully so, they're in the league. Kawhi to the Clippers did wonders for that team, shooting them up, and now it's just a matter of could they knock off Anthony Davis? And then you get to the East where it's a foregone conclusion. Well, it's going to be the Bucks. It's going to be the Bucks. But I think when I saw that game last night and the Sixers are the worst defensive team when it comes to the fourth quarter across the bubble. 22 teams. Do you know the Washington Wizards are better in the fourth quarter defensively than the Philadelphia 76ers? It's unfathomable. Yet with guys like Joel Embiid, who can go for 40, 20, and 8, add 4 or 5 blocks on any given night in 30 minutes. And Ben Simmons, who I don't know what's happened to him defensively these last 2 games. Maybe he saw that Robert Littal post about Kendall Jenner ripping him in that bar that she rented out and her friends laughing and it going viral. I don't know. But watching 2 unique talents in the NBA that could be insanely good together with the right system in place and people around them barely hold on to a squad fueled by DeMar DeRozan and a couple of other guys knocking down a timely shot or 2, minus, of course, this LaMarcus Aldridge injury that everybody thought was going to ruin the Spurs. Spurs had a lot of momentum coming into that game, yet still the inferior talent. And the Sixers, for me, and I'm sure fill in the blank for you in the NBA, you've come to that realization. I think people in Boston have come to that realization that, and I hope you have, if not, then you probably should, that despite overachieving, as we spoke with Jared Weiss last week, who covers the Celtics for The Athletic and beyond, despite overachieving the expectations coming into the season, there is that reminder that, okay, you're not going to win it. And no, Brad Stevens' job isn't on the line like Brett Brown here in Philadelphia. And they're not going to depart from Jaylen Brown at the end of this year like they did Al Horford. It's not going to be that drastic of a situation no matter what happens to the Celtics. But I think despite looking at a win or 2 that will come in this bubble restart and the way in which it comes, and you can even look at tonight's game where the Celtics are taking on the Heat, a winnable game. I would imagine that they take that and cover that spread as well. But there is that realization. Indiana, who has been great so far in their 2 games, not missing Oladipo last time because Malcolm Brogdon comes back without a minutes restriction. Hour from 20 minutes, Jay Michael, who covers the Pacers and the NBA, will join us on that and more. But there is that real Phoenix, Sacramento, you're not even going to make the playoffs. Portland, the only shot of optimism you have is just making and forcing the Grizzlies into a series or maybe even overtaking Memphis and holding on to that 8 spot. So it had me from a micro level last night, just beyond frustrated with the Philadelphia 76ers that they could even allow a Spurs team like that back into the game and how porous their defense has been in the fourth quarter when you have a couple of guys who have been playing at least more consistent than not throughout this season at a really high clip on defense. It's just inexcusable. Defense on the road, and that's where everybody is right now. These are all road games for everybody. Defense on the road is effort. You don't have people holding you accountable, home fans and things along those lines. It's not strategy. It's not a coach in this case, and I'll blame the coach for everything except for effort. When you're lagging on transition defense and you can't identify an open shooter, and next thing you know, a 2-point miss has now turned into a 3-point swing on the other side. So from the micro level, I watched a game last night featuring my team that barely held on to win, and it felt like a loss. It truly felt like a loss. Now, on the macro level, the realization comes that, and I don't know when it's going to hit for you or when it did hit for you. 800-224-2004 is the phone number to jump in. At Shander Show for me. Ron's in the house at Ron Culver, 2 N's, and twitch.tv/Shander Show if you're following along on the visual. I don't know when that moment hit for you. I imagine for Heat fans and Celtics fans, it may not even be there yet, but trust me, that moment's coming. Pacers fans maybe think, okay, hopefully we can do something and win 2 straight. Let's see what happens against the Magic today. Outright, I like them, but I wouldn't put them on the money line. It's not enough value. I think the play there would be the spread. There is I say two-team scenario right now where I don't think it's right to reach that conclusion that you're just watching a team until they get knocked out. There are three teams you can point to, and as I mentioned, the big three, where no matter what happens, if the Bucks don't cover a 17.5-point spread in a game that'll tip, 2 hours from now, if they don't cover that 17.5-point spread, there's no cause for concern. Bucks fans aren't thinking otherwise. I'll get one step further. They lose to the Nets, as difficult as that could be. I mean, you would have to go out and really try to lose to the Nets. You would have to put in that effort to lose. You still aren't talking, is that it, Milwaukee? Yeah, people would be bringing up other teams and maybe how Milwaukee could be beatable, but they're still the odds-on favorite, and that wouldn't change. So realistically, and this is, again, is this realization, it's not an epiphany because so many others have reached this depending on who they root for. But last night, I think, solidified that no matter what the Philadelphia 76ers do, they won't win. They cannot win. It's Adrian. You can't win! Yelling at Rocky, and shame on me for even referencing that movie, as you know, where I stand on the fact that we have that statue and everything else homage in this city. But that's what it reminded me. Okay, maybe I'll flip it a little bit. It reminded me of that sampled on the Big Pun album. Is that better? To where they take that and they use that Adrian shout on the Big Pun track, his first album. That makes me feel a little better as far as referencing the Rocky movie. But it was that moment last night that no matter what happened, no matter where we were, oh, wow, that was it. They're not going to be able to win. No matter what they do, no matter how well they play at times, there's always going to be that door that's left open, and that's their undoing. I don't know if you've reached that point in Indiana, Miami, or Boston, but you probably should have by now at some point. The NBA restart aside, these 2 games aside, you probably should have reached that point. Where I would disagree with people reaching that point now, not to say that it can't happen next week or it can't happen in the first round, but there are 2 teams right now, 2 fan bases right now that I don't think should be in that position. That I honestly don't think should be looking at it like, okay, well, this is just going through the motions and hoping we can get to the playoffs and maybe catch lightning, but I'm pretty sure my team ain't winning anything. Houston and Toronto. We'll start with a tough one and get to the easy one in a second. The Rockets have done something that wasn't working for a long stretch because it was tough to go through a regular season and routinely play small ball against bigger lineups, especially when you're playing 4 or 5 back-to-backs and you have the wear and tear on your body. The restart for the bubble here has rejuvenated a lot of guys on the Rockets, and you know that Mike D'Antoni would rather outshoot you from behind the arc than anything else and make it difficult for you to defend versus anything else. We saw the small lineup work effectively against the big Bucks team. That was an eye-opener. Hold on a second. You get this team in a series where all of a sudden 3 of these 4, 5, 6 games, they are unconscious. And it doesn't even be 3 in a row. But that's the danger right now of going up against the Rockets in these 2 games is they've shown that they're fresher, much fresher than they were before things broke. And you actually have a line that you could see in which they could be a problem as that third team. I don't know when Denver's going to get healthy. They needed to squeak one out. They got some brutal calls on their side last night in that OT victory. Utah is just there. They're just there. They're good enough to be there, but they're bad enough to not do anything significant. Houston, on the other hand, coming from below where they started in the 6th seed and starting to see the veteran presence, of course, James Harden first and everybody else second, including Russ, trickle down into this ridiculous launch offense is something else. Now, 14 minutes from now, we'll do 2 things. One, there is a theory, and hopefully you were following along before the show began, as Ron Culver pitched this theory about a viral video in sports, and I'm actually really fascinated by the topic and content of where it could go. Before that, 11:40 Eastern, as we have another rendition of Most Unbearable Scenario coming up. We'll put Ron's feet to the fire. But in 13 minutes, I'll tell you about the other team the other fan base, as there are two right now that should not, and I don't think will at some point, maybe when they get knocked out by the Lakers, Clippers, or Bucks, it's possible. But there are two cities right now that should not have come to that realization that I did last night about my Sixers. That's Houston and Toronto, about just not winning anything. At Shander Show, twitch.tv/Shander Show. It's the second level on Sports Map Radio Network.
Introducing AutomotiveMap.com, a brand new website for anyone interested in what's happening in the world of automobiles.
So is it stormy outside or what?
Oh my God.
On keeping your family safe on the road,
times.
AutomotiveMap.com has
nuts.
something for you. If you love cars, trucks, and SUVs, and the amazing technology hitting your favorite showroom, check out the brand new AutomotiveMap.com.
So how far away from the city are you?
Oh, so
Wake up call! You know, somebody told me I look like years ago.
miles-wise,
Who's
I'm
that?
close.
Sean
It's
Miller,
just
that
not
was
a
the head
direct
coach at
shot.
Arizona.
Okay.
So I'm
I
probably
was just
like
hoping when somebody told me
door
Sean
to
Miller, I was
door.
like, please
So
tell me Sean Miller
right
is like
Center
a
City,
sex
downtown
symbol at the University of
Philadelphia is where the
Arizona.
Fox 29
Like they want him to
studios
appear.
Okay.
no traffic. It takes
But
me.
is it
if
Sean
I have to do,
Miller
like a
after a
5:45 in
game?
the morning
Yeah,
hit,
who's
I leave
drenched
my
in
house.
sweat?
I usually
Yeah.
leave my
I
house
don't
at
know
like
how to take
5,
You know what?
and I'll get there by like
For
25.
Jock today?
All right.
So because the
Miller
big thing is there's no
post-basketball game and
direct.
you.
If I ever
There's no
interview Sean Miller, I
direct
should
shot
say, people
to any
tell me
highway
I
from
look
where
like
I am.
you. Do people ever
So
tell you
it takes
you look
me
like
like
me?
I think you should.
10,
Wasn't
15
he under
minutes,
FBI
depending on
investigation?
traffic.
Yeah,
to
you're
get
right.
to
He's
the
part of the
turnpike.
FBI.
It takes me
Yeah,
15
it
minutes.
doesn't matter if you're
goes
under
east-west.
investigation by
It
the
takes me
FBI. You
15
still get to
minutes
keep
to
your
get to
job.
95,
No,
which goes
no,
north
You
no.
still
south.
get to keep your
So
job.
That is an
the city
inconvenience.
itself
Are you
is-
kidding me?
is
That
like
that is just a
13 maybe
burp on the
miles
radar.
from
Wake up
my
call with
door,
Tony V and Ron
but
Culver.
it takes me
Weekday
about
mornings
30
from
minutes
7
just
to
because
9
of traffic.
Eastern.
Gotcha. Yeah.
This is a little kid wanting to be an archaeologist
Of
because of
course.
Indiana Jones.
I mean,
I
this
didn't realize
was-
it was boring.
I know my commute to and from work used to be longer, but now I just pay the insufferable toll. I'm just like, you know what? It's so worth it.
Rush does.
There are days where,
Yeah.
I mean, especially in the morning, I can get to work like in, 15, 20 minutes. And it makes all the difference in the world.
To 9 Eastern.
Pushing the odds with Matt Perrault.
Bryson DeChambeau. His swing speed has gone up to 134 miles per hour, where
Yeah,
last
man,
year
I'm
it
with
was
you. That's
around
what I do with
120
the-
miles per hour. So we're talking about a massive increase in swing speed. So much so that pro
Well,
golfers
that's what
were
I do with
going in
everything
there
here,
and
too.
imploring the PGA Tour to not, quote, Bryson-proof the next courses. I'm not trying to accuse
Like,
Bryson DeChambeau
I'll
of
take the
being a
turnpike
cheater.
every
I don't
day if
know.
I have
What
to.
I do
I
know,
don't give
though,
a- you know,
is that the PGA Tour's
it's not
got a
that
problem.
expensive,
The problem is
but
their
still, I don't
drug
give a
testing.
shit,
If you
you know?
look at the 13 years since
I'd
the
much
PGA
rather
Tour
sit on
started
that
to
highway
look
and
at
fly at
PED
70
testing
miles
and
per hour
implement their
speed limit.
system, there's only been 3
Going,
players
80
who have publicly failed tests
for
for PEDs.
15
The
minutes,
PGA
then
Tour
sit
doesn't
on
have
95,
anywhere
which is
near the list
dodging
of banned
potholes
substances
and
like
people that are
cycling or
texting
the
into the middle
NFL
lane.
when they're
I mean, it's ridiculous.
constantly updating, they're constantly watching and monitoring their athletes.
Touching
Oh, I
the
have a
odds
great
with
one
Matt
here coming up
Perrault.
for you.
Weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 Eastern.
You're listening to The Second Level on the Sports Map Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage. Home loans that fit your life. Rocket can.
From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, with way more than the scores, here's Eitan Shander.
So every day at this time, usually around anywhere from 11:25 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, we have fun with Ron Culver. It can be Tony, Jake, or Eitan, in which we throw a scenario that he replies, well, it's going to be you, Shander, or other areas of entertainment. And the latest has been putting Ron in 2 different scenarios and finding out which is the most unbearable. So let me start here. What's the worst scenario for you, Ron Culver? Borrowing your friend's very expensive camera and accidentally breaking it, or spending an entire day arguing your point with someone only to find out that you were oh so very wrong?
Ooh.
I love that response. That means it's a good one.
C.
Wait a second. There's no cop out. There's no Ron Culver answer in Tony, Jake, or Eitan.
Okay. Sometimes there is. We proved that the other day.
One time there was an
One
anomaly.
time.
I stand
There was-
corrected.
There was an anomaly. All right, so I break my friend's very expensive camera.
Now we're talking about videographers, somebody like shooting a wedding, some $15,000, $5,000 drone or something like that.
And I was borrowing it to take a picture of my son hitting a piñata.
Right.
Or
the opposite, which I'm sure has happened to you though, right? In this business.
Yeah, that's why I feel like breaking a camera I'd rather do, because I would just say, you know what, man, my bad. Let me know how much it costs to fix. Let me know how much it costs to replace, and just deal with that at that point. Arguing with someone all day long just seems very tedious and not me at all.
Yeah, I could see you actually. That's what I think I respect and am actually pretty jealous about envious is probably a better word when it comes, is that you can just let it go. I have no problem. And maybe that's the Southern Californian in you or the Hawaiian in you.
Definitely. It's the beach lifestyle. Life's too short to worry about what other people think.
Having to relocate to a completely different country all by yourself for an entire year. Now, we'll throw a caveat in here. I don't know if bringing the family or not is a better or worse scenario. So whatever the worst scenario is for you, add that in there.
Can I choose which family I can bring? I'm just kidding. All right, let's go. Let's keep it to the original answer. Okay, I'm going to a country by myself.
All by yourself for an entire year.
For an entire year.
Being forced to watch infomercials every night for an entire year.
What does this say about me where I'm leaning more towards infomercial? Well, what country? Do I get my choice of country? Guam. That's not a problem.
There's beach life on Guam.
I know.
I need to send you
on an island.
Luxembourg. I need to put you in a landlocked area.
Landlocked country where I don't speak the language.
Yes.
Mongolia.
Sweden. How about that?
Come on now. Sweden?
Well, there's women in chocolate. I think you'll be
fine. I'll be fine.
Okay, fair enough. I think we're going to have to go with the latter, right?
And you know what? The other thing, too, is they have those domes. You've seen those domes, right?
Yes.
I don't know if that's more in Sweden or Norway.
No, you're right.
A little bit further up.
It is definitely something. I think it might be Norwegian. But
that's a bucket list thing.
Okay.
Is it not?
Fair.
Is it not? I mean, no, I'm asking you.
Oh, yes. I think just to be able to see that, take a picture next to it with my friend's very expensive camera.
No. I think I need to spend the night in one of those
in
domes.
the bubble?
In the bubble, like one of those dome hotel rooms that's clear.
Right.
And it's just a bed.
That's all you have.
And you're out in the middle of nowhere.
It would freak me out. I think the floor is see-through too.
No,
right?
Well, I don't know if the floor is see-through.
Oh,
but I mean, I got to do it on a full moon night though.
Okay. Now, this next one is pre-COVID.
All right. Oh, of course.
Going on a date to a very nice restaurant and having your bitter ex be your server, or hugging someone from behind thinking you know them only to find out it's a total stranger.
Well, I guess it all depends on who you're hugging, right? I mean, if you're hugging your 350-pound football player buddy back from the day, and it turns out not to be him, that could be an issue.
That could be a problem.
Yeah.
Well, I think it could be a problem if you're randomly hugging a woman too.
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, who? Well, yeah. I guess maybe I would choose the bitter ex.
Here's the thing: would you rather be punched in the face with the hugging scenario? Would you rather be punched in the face or sued?
Or worse, below the belt.
Well, yeah, that's
true. A knee to the groin could solve all the issues on their end.
That's right.
Create new ones for yourself.
Right. Who cares about a lawsuit? That's long and tedious. I'd rather just knee you in the groin.
Just take care of it right here and there. I think I might be leaning towards bitter, angry ex.
All right, last one to think
about. And just realize that, you know what, I'm not eating tonight.
That's fine. Living off of only cold, chunky soup for an entire month, or having to eat a bowl full of earthworms.
How many times do I have to eat the earthworms?
Once.
Okay, yeah, earthworms.
You didn't even hesitate. What are you, Gordon Ramsay out here?
Well, I think I could season them up a little bit to my liking. Cold, chunky soup for an entire year? No, thank you.
That's making me sick right now as I'm thinking about it.
Earthworm.
All right, Ron has a theory about a viral video. Also, that other city that shouldn't be throwing in the towel anytime soon. We'll get to that next.
Working from home is driving up the worst type of cybercrime, home title theft.
That's great.
We're doing it all from home now, right? Working, banking, video conferencing, meal deliveries, and shopping. Cyber criminals are targeting our homes. Actually, they want the money they can get by taking out loans against your home. The crime is called home title theft, and the FBI is warning homeowners. Home Title Lock is how you protect your home from cyber thieves. Your home's legal title is...
Hey, can you do a, whatchamacallit, a boomer?
Yeah. Do we have her on today?
Take out loans on your home and...
Is it today?
Insurance and basic identity theft services do not protect...
The times are up here, but the dates are not. Son of a bitch.
Found your home's title.
Hold on.
Protect your home now. .com and register your address to see if you're already a victim.
Looking at
And
Craig's
use code
email.
SPORTS for 30 free days of protection to help get you through this crisis. That's code SPORTS at HometitleLock.com.
Third floor study hall. First floor homeroom. My dining room table.
Was there an email since Sunday, August 2nd?
Yeah, no, she is on today at 10:55 Central. So you're gonna have to break a little bit early.
Shop in store, pick up curbside, or order online. School on, save on, Staples.
So what
Ends
time, like
8:31 while
52?
supplies last. Limit 30 in store.
Yeah.
My name is Megan Eddings, and I am not only the founder and CEO of Excel Lifestyle, but I am the chemist who invented the Prima antibacterial face masks. Research shows that wearing a
what's her
face
last
mask will
name? Do you know?
drastically reduce the spread of coronavirus.
No.
Mandatory. At Excel Lifestyle, we want to help keep you and your loved ones safe and healthy. Our masks actually exceed the CDC's recommendations, as our masks are
I don't see it
washable,
on any of these
soft,
emails.
double layer for added protection, and even antibacterial. Hospitals such as Houston Methodist have purchased thousands of Excel Prima antibacterial masks to help their frontline healthcare professionals stay safe. To buy your mask, please go to excellifestyle.com. That's ACCELLIFESTYLE.com. Once we receive your order, we will ship your mask out immediately. Thank you and stay safe.
Any idea? No.
For muscle pain, body aches,
Yeah, I'm looking for it.
maximum arthritis. It works fast and you won't stink. Its unique formula with emu oil penetrates
I
deep
don't see
to
it on
relieve
any of these
arthritis pain, sore muscles, joints, and more. Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis. It works fast and you won't stink. Find Blue Emu at Walmart
Yeah, no, her first name is Suzanne.
Right.
chains or visit blue-emu.com.
Maybe you can ask her. Just want to get the correct pronunciation of your name.
Maybe she's going under an alias.
Like Cher?
Yeah. I'll find out.
Dealing with the root of the issues. It's the second level on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. Here's Eitan Shander.
So there's this viral video of Katie Ledecky we'll get to coming up in 6 minutes. Before that, looking at the NBA landscape, I told you the sobering realization or reminder for me, but I'm sure realization for a lot of people as I was watching it unfold live, both on my television and on social media, regarding the Philadelphia 76ers just not having it, just not being that outside shot team that could scare people and go on a run and knock off the Bucks in a 7-game series. It's over. Still going to watch the team, still going to be fully invested, still going to cheer them on when they win and question, maybe even boo them when they lose. But also, I thought, well, how many other people in other fan bases around the NBA are going through this or have gone through this so far, either at the end of the regular season before the break or since the NBA restart has come upon us? And maybe it was before the break that Celtics fans, for example, realized, hey, we've got something here. We really overachieved this year, and it's awesome to see guys coming together, not playing a ton together, but still when they are, knowing what could happen, maybe you could push it to the Eastern Conference Finals and do something along those lines. But I don't think it's by any means win this damn thing or bust mentality in Boston, nor is it from the organization where there are ultimatums put down on, let's say, Brad Stevens. You know, if you don't get out in that second round, your job is done. like I can promise you what's going on here in Philadelphia. And it got us talking about Houston and just this type of game that they play, refreshed legs and all, and how dangerous they could be as a team that underachieved in the regular season, but now with the recharge could actually do something. And then the polar opposite, yet still same end, just different means, is Toronto. I don't think there is anybody in Toronto right now, at least realistic and honest with themselves regarding their fan base and the team in which they root for, that is the defending NBA champions as we speak, that would legit feel that this team doesn't have a shot at beating Milwaukee. And I don't think you should. If you're in that small minority of people that, it doesn't matter, they're going to lose anyway, I think you need to start opening your eyes a little more and taking in what this team has been able to do consistently. You can't cheat. You can't start now and just eliminate so much of the progress that it was to get here by Toronto, and they show no signs of slowing down. In fact, it's just a Fred VanVleet or somebody else stepping up at any given moment. Kyle Lowry playing himself, rightfully so, into the Basketball Hall of Fame. And there's so much going on with that team that was dwarfed by the cloud of Kawhi Leonard. And I get it. I understand it, because Kawhi, as quiet and as robotic as he seemed at times, was a compelling figure. Some of it was just that. The laugh, the fact that he never said anything. He just responds to things like a robot at times, but he was very quiet with the media. Clearly, we saw with other film and stuff that popped out, he was very cool, just sliding in and being one of the guys in Toronto. But that storyline dominated last year, right through them beating the Warriors, minus a couple of guys, of course, in the NBA Finals. I don't think there's anything that right now would indicate this team is on the way down, that this team was a regular season champ or second place, and that's where they are. That's where they'll finish. I think you have to really, and again, outside of Toronto, just looking at this from a big picture, the Raptors, I think, have a better shot of knocking off the Bucks, right, than Houston would of the two LA teams. Could you make the argument that the Raptors right now have a better chance of knocking off the Bucks than the Clippers do the Lakers? Full LA Clippers team. Lou Williams is back in action. You start to see the depth of that Clippers team wearing down LA, knowing that when LA has to go to the bench, things could change drastically for the Lakers, but still the comfort of playing that Clippers team no matter where, and having playoff LeBron, who looks in prime mode right now alongside an animal in Anthony Davis, and knowing that when you get into these tight games, these tight series, and we'll assume both 1-2 in their respective conferences would represent each in their conference as far as the conference finals, it seems like an easy answer now to say, oh, yeah, Clippers, come on, because they may be more talented on the surface. But the depth of the Raptors and the backcourt being able to just wear you down over and over on a game, there is something to that. I think when we get to that point, hopefully we will get to that point, the 1-2s going at it in each conference, we'll bring that back up. Because now, and we'll need to actually go to fruition to see how it plays out, but even now, I would lean towards Toronto. Even now, I would lean and say Toronto has a better chance of knocking off Milwaukee, who is still not quite there yet when it comes to transferring over in the postseason to the finals, let's say. I think that they still have a better chance, even if it's a slim margin, over the Clippers knocking off where LeBron is right now, and especially where Anthony Davis is right now. Twitch.tv/Shander Show is how you follow along, at Shander Show on Twitter. Now, Ron brought this up, at Ron Culver, with 2 N's on Twitter as well, at the start of the show, about Katie Ledecky. And we were going to save this for one for the road, but after talking about it, I think we both can get some mileage off of this. Well, and I'm fascinated by your spin on it, to say the least.
One for the road usually ends up being like maybe sometimes only 30 seconds long.
I know.
All right. I mean, Tony and I got into this earlier. And if you haven't watched it, do yourself a favor, in the next 15 minutes or so, watch this video. Yeah, if you haven't, that's what I'm saying. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor and catch up with the times. Katie Ledecky swims the length of a swimming pool with balancing a chocolate milk on top of her head. Now, she has a snorkel in her mouth, so that's why she never picks up her head. So she's able to breathe through the snorkel the entire time. But also, the other thing we have to mention is that when we say swim, Eitan, I guarantee that the pace that she's setting, which is, she can swim much faster than that.
Right.
But the pace that she's at would still beat you and I.
Yeah, I would think that.
Right?
Yes. So you're saying that she's swimming slow enough to balance a full glass of chocolate milk on her head with a snorkel. That's why she's not moving her head.
Right.
Yet she's still faster than 8 out of 10 average swimmers.
Right.
Correct. I would agree with that.
And now you're thinking it's fake. Are you thinking that the chocolate milk isn't real, even though she drinks it afterwards?
No, I think that the chocolate milk is real.
Are you thinking that there's a cup holder in her swim cap?
Here's the thing. You asked me if I thought it was fake, and I don't think I hesitated much, and I thought, yeah.
Do you think it's some incredible Hollywood editing?
So it reminded me.
Some laser beams from the sky?
Do you remember that Mike Vick Powerade commercial?
Vaguely.
Okay, so I think he was still on the Falcons, and they had this Powerade commercial where it was guys just doing ridiculous stuff, and Mike Vick dropped back and threw the football like 100 yards in the air.
Okay.
And it was,
Yeah. Okay,
now, it was meant to be over the top, but there was still, depending on how young you were when you watched it, there was still, did he really just do that?
Right.
And you kind of didn't know.
I mean, as an adult that's impossible.
Yes, and I would think as an adult now that being able to balance a full glass of chocolate milk on your head while swimming that fast would be physically impossible. So I thought, to answer your question, Ron, it's not fake like Hollywood trying to mess with our mind. I thought it was something to open up an ad campaign that will come out with a bunch of commercials about how special Katie Ledecky is.
No, it's part of I think it's part of a Got Milk ad.
Okay, so there you have it.
No, yeah. But I think the swimming with the chocolate milk on her head is real. I think she can actually do that.
I don't know. And here's the thing.
I mean, I've seen a lot of things where there's some talented people out there that blow your mind, that they have a stupid human trick that they can do, and you're sitting there like, how is that even possible?
Is this like the plate woman who balances 16 plates on poles during a halftime game of an NBA NHL game?
It could be something like that, or the guy who can sit down and have like 12 spinning basketballs.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Body.
She spins. You haven't seen the plate woman?
Yeah,
she does that with plates.
I liked my analogy better. Basketballs are better than plates.
Okay, well, what about the woman who can shoot a bow and arrow with her feet while she's doing a handstand?
Yeah.
Top that one, halftime guy.
That's pretty good.
So I just don't know. Now that it's part of an ad campaign, I feel like it could be doctored just to, and again, it doesn't take away from Katie Ledecky. She's one of the best swimmers we've ever seen.
Yeah, but here's my thing. Here's my final thought on it, right? Okay. I don't believe that was the one and only take.
Okay, that's fair.
I believe that there were several takes. Now, I don't know if any were edited and married together. I think she did do one complete run, and they got one complete run out of her. But I think it's just like anything else. Like when you watch a Dude Perfect video, you're amazed that, oh my God, look how talented that is. Look at that crazy trick shot they just did. You don't know that they attempted that trick shot like 50 to 100 times. And it only took once for us to get the viral video. And so, I mean, we could have had a situation where she did that 50 times, just swimming back and forth in this pool. And
well, that's
finally,
I can see that.
One time she got the milk right on her head.
Like the guy,
I believe that. I don't think it was just, let me jump in the pool, let me put this milk on my head, and let's go.
So there's some middle ground here. You think it's real, but it took 50
I think it's
takes.
real, but I think that was definitely more than one take.
Well, here's the thing. Do you think it was spliced? Do you think she made it like the longest she made it was 3/4 of the way through the lane and it kept falling, or maybe she reset it, or she was in the middle of the pool and they added.
I think
it was one.
I think
full
they finally
take.
got
It just took
one,
50 times.
Yeah, I think they've got one continuous take out of her.
Man. I honestly don't know. My gut would still
We gotta
say,
go, Greg.
especially because it was an ad campaign, that it was fake. We'll see. 800-224-2004 if you've
Watch
seen
the
it.
video.
At Shandor Show. You got a couple of minutes now to get online and watch that video in case you haven't seen it. I'll find it and post it as well on the stream here, twitch.tv/Shandor Show. We'll wrap the hour next on the second level.
Into the night.
Our good friend Adam Schefter, zooming with us, Harry. Adam.
All right, I went straight to the source, Craig.
Nice. What do you say?
Last name is Hobbs.
Okay,
Team,
perfect.
how ugly will
Thank
the
you.
first come?
And she's the director of communications.
Okay.
Brand of football that you
And her cousin is Calvin. I'm just kidding.
He usually opens the season that way, but what are you going to do? We all love the sport so much that believe me, it's okay. But I think this year it could be the product even more diminished than it's been in previous opening years. But again, what I would say to that is that's the time we're living in. And as long as we have the games, they can play whatever diminished product they want. I don't really care. Listen, I just hope we have football for the season. We'll be happy to see diversion, a form of entertainment on Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays. And by the way, if there's no college football, who knows? Maybe Fridays and Saturdays too.
Into the Night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern.
Coast to coast! If I want to watch a playoff, I'd rather watch take 2 of 3. That's legit to me. One day, anything bad happen, it's over. I don't really like having that many teams in a baseball postseason, but I do like, if I'm going to have it, which I am, I have no choice because they're stuffing it down our throats, then I would rather see 2 of 3 than one game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Did I put the
Eastern.
wrong thing in here? Did I label this the wrong thing?
The Jake Asman Show.
I'd be upset if I'm a Pelicans fan because the way the Pelicans managed Zion Williamson's minutes
Hold on,
last
guys.
night,
I'm sorry.
to me, didn't make any sense.